Good morning and welcome to our 2019 Most National Tripartite Conference. This is our 34th year for this event, and every year I look forward to this opportunity to bring together so many incredible industry partners, fellow Boilermakers, friends, and guests. It is my hope that all of you likewise look forward to joining us and that you and any family members who may have traveled with you are enjoying the beautiful South Carolina coast. Each year, the Most Programs team works hard to make this a meaningful event for all of us. Each year, they try to do even better than the previous year's event. And each year, they have so far succeeded. And each year, they listen to your feedback, what went well and what didn't, your concerns and your ideas. Well, we have been listening to your ideas about location. We've been coming to Myrtle Beach for a long time, but I think the consensus is that it's time for a change. So as many of you may have already heard, we will be moving this event to a new location in 2020. We are confident you will find the new location, Destin, Florida, to be an equally wonderful experience. Great meeting content as usual, but with powder white beaches and warm Gulf waters. Those of you who have attended our Southeast area tripartite in the past know firsthand how beautiful Sandestin is, so we think you'll find it to be just as exceptional as Myrtle Beach. Of course, it's hard to leave the Kingston Plantation. This has been a truly wonderful meeting venue, and I think we should give Kingston a hand. But I am confident you will find the Hilton Resort in Sandestin just as accommodating and wonderful as the Kingston Plantation has been these many years. Now to our agenda. We have a great conference planned this week with outstanding speakers on topics that are important to our industry. You'll have plenty of chances to connect one-on-one, to talk through our opportunities and our collective challenges. And as always, I'm sure you will find many occasions this week just to enjoy one another's company as we continue to build on the important owner-contractor Boilermaker relationships that make our tripartite alliance so strong. I want to touch on a few issues that are important to all of us. We have some real and significant challenges to overcome both today and in the coming years. We are working very hard, and with many of you in this room, in fact, to address these challenges. Coal plant closures continue to be a fact of life today, as well as a looming threat to our future. Although many of these coal-fired power generation facilities are being replaced by new gas-fired power generation facilities, fewer workers are needed to build, operate, and maintain them. That is of particular impact to the Boilermaker craft and to our Boilermaker contractors. Fewer man-hours in power generation mean fewer contributions to our national pension plan. And it also means fewer Boilermaker craft members to serve the critical needs of those who rely on us for the skills and knowledge we have built over the decades. Every day we can see work being performed that we never should have let get away from our craft. We need that work. We need those man-hours, and we have to go get them. So we have undertaken a new strategic plan that will enable us to focus on all industry work opportunities, not just primarily on power generation. And this is our More Work Investment Fund. I am pleased to advise that since our introduction of the concept last year, every Boilermaker construction local in the United States is on board. Some of them we had to drag kicking and screaming. But the strategic plan will afford us the tools we need to rebuild our market share in all industries where we claim Boilermaker jurisdiction, not just in power generation, though that will remain a priority. And as you know, tools are not free. They cost dollars. So the More Work Investment Fund will be funded by an hourly contribution of $1 an hour by our members. All locals should be at $1 per hour contribution rate by January 1st of next year. This will provide us with upwards of $25 million a year, roughly, adding in overtime dollars, to invest in each Boilermaker IVP section. The money that the Boilermaker IVP section contributes will go back to that area in the form of various programs, initiatives, and services being developed in the areas of marketing, organizing, recruiting, and employment strategies as we move forward. Will it work? It is already working. So let's start with California. International Vice President Tom Baca, his staff and locals developed a plan to promote a law in California that required refineries to employ a workforce made up of 60% apprentices from trades that had certified apprenticeship programs. The state law was passed, and we now have an estimated 3 million and perhaps even up to 5 million new Boilermaker man-hours to work. And we have 31 new Boilermaker contractors and about 1,000 new Boilermaker members. Now consider this. At roughly a $65 an hour package, which is what is out there, those 3 million man-hours generate roughly $200 million in annual compensation for those members, annual. And if it grows to 5 million man-hours, the annual compensation will be even more. Any way you cut it, that is quite a return on the Western States More Work Investment Fund. Now let's move to Washington State. International Vice President Tom Baca, his staff and locals promoted a similar plan to the building trades in the state legislature. After much work and a solid crew of More Work Investment Fund staff, that law was passed and signed by the governor in May. So we can expect to be performing between 1 and 2 million new man-hours annually in Washington State's refineries. Now, at roughly $65 an hour package there as well, 1 million man-hours would yield over $65 million in compensation annually for our members. And of course, if the man-hours were worth closer to 2 million, and that's very possible, that income would be closer to double. So now let's take a look at a similar initiative in the state of Illinois. This initiative was not necessarily started by us, but we have poured loads of effort into seeing to it that it is successful. Specifically, to advance this initiative, I hired Martin Williams, former business manager of Local 13, as our More Work Investment Fund National Coordinator of Legislative Affairs, of State Legislative Affairs, to help get this through the Illinois State House, State Senate, and next the State House. I also assigned Erica Stewart to assist, and I'll talk more about Erica later. With a lot of hard work and effort, the bill passed the Illinois State Senate. It is due to be taken up by the State House in October, and we are hopeful. There's a meeting next Thursday with the Speaker of the House. The bill will help Boilermakers gain between 650,000 and 1 million new man-hours annually. And in talking with some of you, I heard that this could be more. Now, you can do the math as to how much annual compensation that would generate for our members. But taken together, these three legislative initiatives have the potential to yield over $300 million annually for our members, and possibly even more. All of these new work opportunities are work opportunities we lost decades ago. And this is just one strategy that we are employing through our More Work Investment Fund. Now, to be clear, we did not do this alone. We worked with our fellow trades to accomplish each of these successful initiatives. The More Work Investment Fund just enabled us to more effectively participate and make a difference. Now we are focusing on other states where we believe we can be successful with this approach. And I'm not going to name them because I don't want there to be preemption. But we're also seeing some new opportunities like our work in New York, building new electric Maid of the Mist boats for Niagara Falls. I think I'll let the short video of this project introduce you to this unique opportunity. So if you would, please roll the film.
Coming down. Coming down. Coming down. 10 foot, coming down. Yeah, let's swing a couple feet to your right, please. Swinging right. Swinging right. Hold that.
It's a different project. I've never been on a project like this before in my life.
All right, looking good.
We're building the Maid of the Mist boats.
All you
It's a
have.
new design. They're all electric. They're all aluminum.
It's all MIG welding. Never done nothing like that around here before.
We just go with it. We don't know what these pieces are looking like, but when they get here, a couple guys are going to put their heads together and we're going to figure out exactly how it needs to go down there safely.
Hey, Al, just so you know, that spot that you're at right now is about the center of our landing zone down here.
I mean, we're the best riggers, in my opinion, pound for pound in the country. Nobody can do what we can do, and that's why we're doing it.
About 6 feet till we touch down.
When I first came out to the job site and took a look at where they proposed to build the boats, I was amazed.
So the site was terrible to access because of the natural grade change of the falls. And downstream, about a mile down, is where the beginning of the rapids are.
There's a lot of challenges. We have to fly the pieces down 200 feet. You know, you got to have a crane big enough. You know, and it's not just the pieces of the boat. Semis you got to drop down. You got walls, all the equipment that goes with it.
We will be taking the old ones out, disassembling, cut them into pieces, and flying them out piece by piece.
The crane's a 275-ton tracker. It's got to reach out 140 feet into the gorge. It's a lot of weight to be going down 200 feet with a lot of factors involved with wind and just the sheer drop of the gorge. So it's a pretty big piece of equipment, but that's what we need to get the job done.
We are now at the process of shipping the modules in from Wisconsin, which are approximately 60 pieces in the modules. And there's 2 boats, each one's approximately 100 foot long.
Typically, when we're rigging, we're lifting things up and bringing them back down to the level where the crane's at. In this case, we're going another 200 feet down.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably bring it down where I've been bringing everything down, then kind of that last little bit, boom it down. Okay, buddy.
It's a different rigging situation. Usually we're lifting stuff way up in the air, and this time it's a whole different animal.
Coming down on the load, coming down. Tagline's all clear. Nobody's gonna get caught in it, right? Exactly, sir. All clear. All right, Al, we're set down here whenever you guys are ready.
Quite a lot's been lowered into the gorge. We've got a bunch of pieces down, as you've seen. We're starting to root them out. A little more tan now than I was last time, not wearing a hooded sweatshirt and a raincoat, but other than that, we're building boats.
When you're welding aluminum, there's a few factors. Aluminum, sitting out here in the sun, it actually grows. You know, it can change from morning to afternoon.
It can move a 1/4 inch overnight. You line something up, get it laid out, ready to cut. You come back the next morning after the sun goes down, it cools, and it shrinks a 1/4 inch.
Well, every day it seems like there's something new that comes up with a different weld procedure we need to follow, or a module is not fitting the way it should.
It's a tricky thing to learn how to weld, and not just anybody can pick it up. It's a whole different color puddle. It's different noise. It's a different speed. It's different everything.
At our hall, our union hall, we went ahead and set up welding machines. The guys were coming in practicing daily. There's a lot at stake for this. You've got over 1 million people a year that ride on these boats. They're not taking any chances, and they want it perfect, and that's what we're going to give them.
The training that we go through and the skill and knowledge that's passed down to us, seems like we can kind of just adapt to pretty much any situation.
We have one hell of a crew here. The time, the work, the effort, they've been doing a hell of a job.
Hundreds of people come down the elevator shaft today because they read about it in the paper, they see what's happening, and they're just amazed at what we're doing on this project. So it's, it's monumental. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, at this point, we have the holes here in place. We're probably about 90% complete, and we're moving on to the final piece of the hole that's being fit up as we speak. Looking forward to the final date when these boats actually get in operation. I'm just looking forward to that point.
I think you can see this is an amazing project, a high-profile project for Boilermakers. I know our guys are working hard to make it a success, and we are targeting other work we don't traditionally get at universities and other non-traditional work sites. In fact, we have won at least 5 out of the 6 jobs with our job targeting strategy, each promising more man-hours for our Boilermakers and more work for our Boilermaker contractors. And yet we have some immediate challenges in front of us. From what I mentioned a moment ago, we simply don't always have enough skilled, qualified Boilermaker manpower to cover all the work available when and where we're needed. Compounding that issue, our referral rules restrictions have at times constrained us from being an adaptable and transferable workforce that can easily provide the right people in the right places to get the jobs done. We continue to see work we could be doing go unbid by our contractors as we continue to struggle to recruit new, younger Boilermakers to carry on our legacy and replace those who retire. We continue to play catch-up to market ourselves and recoup work lost due to non-union or, quite frankly, in some cases, overpricing ourselves. So regarding the referral rules, as the manpower needs of our contractors and owners change, the Boilermakers are committed to becoming more flexible. We will, as we have in the past, do everything possible to be the choice for owners and contractors to perform new construction, maintenance, and turnaround work. Further, both the union and contractor sides of the National Referral Rules and Standards Committees are working together in true tripartite spirit to make certain no barriers or impediments hinder any contractor from staffing jobs. And our most Boilermaker delivery system will always allow Boilermakers from all across the United States and Canada to assist other local lodges during manpower shortages, while at the same time our national penalty system will continue to discourage inappropriate behavior, lost time, and negligence, especially when it comes to safety and craftsmanship. Now, back in March during our annual Construction Sector Operations Conference, we went over some of those same issues regarding skilled manpower availability, lost work, and missed opportunities to serve our owners and contractors at our highest capacity. These are the same issues we have discussed far too many times with far too few results. And I made it abundantly clear to the business managers and other leaders in that room in March that we were done talking about it. We were done not seeing the changes that need to happen in every local lodge to impact results. So at that conference, I laid out a plan to reestablish the National Transient District Lodge, to put the International in a hands-on position to effect critical changes, recruit more prospective members, and ultimately put more Boilermakers to work throughout the United States. Well, I'm pleased to tell you we have put this plan in motion and established and chartered the NTDL based in Henderson, Tennessee. And we've recently chartered 4 National Transient Local Lodges, 1 in each U.S. Vice Presidential section, and all under the umbrella of the NTDL, the National Transient District Lodge. I have appointed Mike West to serve as District Business Manager and Executive Secretary Pro Tem. Monty Causey is the President Pro Tem, and Sean Almond is Vice President Pro Tem. Anthony Howell is the Business Agent of the Southeast Area's NTL 2020. Danny Watson is the Business Agent of the Northeast Area NTL 2040. Gene Forkin is the Business Agent of the Great Lakes Area NTL 2060. And Tim Ruth is the Business Agent of the Western States NTL 2080. Now, our NTL business agents will serve as recruiters. Everyone recruited in through construction sector operations will be brought in through the NTDL. So we can make sure they are put into our system properly trained and put to work as soon as possible wherever there is a need. Further, we have plans for 4 regional recruitment and training centers, and 1 is already in operation in Salt Lake City. 2 other locals have training centers that have been designated as regional training centers and will help advance our training initiatives while we site and build the training centers we need. We are in the process of looking for land and designing what we plan to build. We will have full-time trainers and offer boot camp training, and we hope to have on-site lodging if we need that to accommodate at least 30 people per site, perhaps 40. Now, this new model will be our gold standard for membership recruiting and initial training. It eliminates the excuses and denial we've heard far too much in the past. The newly reimagined and reestablished NTDL will create results in recruiting and turning more prospective Boilermakers into qualified brothers and sisters. And it will make our workforce nimble to adapt and deploy as needed, where needed, and when needed. In addition, we have a new training initiative that we are just beginning. Just last week, I met with career placement personnel at Fort Benning in Georgia. The Army will provide us a building, and we will outfit that building to train soldiers who are leaving the service. The Army will house them and feed them for their final 6 months, and we will have them for that entire time to begin their training and advance them through their first 2 years of apprenticeship. Once we get this initiative up and operational, we will work to establish more of the same on bases in other branches of the military. We've also taken forward-thinking action in executing official affiliation agreement with the Utility Workers Union of America. When we signed that agreement in May, it wasn't just innovative, it was also an historic moment for our 2 unions. This agreement was a long time in the making and well worth the care, time, and effort that went into it. We and the UWUA have known for some time that we share some areas and opportunities that align naturally. It only makes sense for us to take advantage of one another's strengths and join our voices where we can amplify those collective strengths on issues that impact both our organizations. Now, to clear up any confusion, this is not a merger. This is an agreement that calls for us to sort of link arms and share where we align. That means sharing resources where it makes sense, like our legislative and communications resources, and like our training centers. It means that when we have a mutual issue of concern or joint priorities, we'll collaborate to magnify our volume and our impact. By aligning with one another, we can make our structures stronger. We can gain economies of scale. We can make our voices louder when it comes to raising our mutual political concerns and political advocacy together on the state and national levels. UWUA leadership and our Boilermaker leadership look forward to a bright future for our unions together, and I'm pleased to have the UWUA's President Emeritus, Mike Langford, here with us. Mike, where are you? And we also have our newly elected Pat Dillon as the Executive Vice President for the UWUA. Now, we will hear from Mike later this morning. One area where we are already gaining ground by collaborating with UWUA is our new Women's Caucus, which we are tentatively calling Women at Work. In fact, several UWUA Women's Caucus leaders were with us when we launched Women at Work during our industrial sector operations conference last month in Las Vegas. And they have been valuable sounding boards as we continue to develop our program. So let me tell you a little about it. The goal of Women at Work is to actively engage in advancing women in the trades. We know there is a lot of work ahead of us and with other trades when it comes to recruiting, retaining, and advancing women in our industries. We know this, and Women at Work is our answer. Now, we are not new to participating in initiatives that support women in the trades, but we decided that participating wasn't enough. We want to be proactive leaders when it comes to promoting opportunities for women and addressing the unique issues facing women in the trades. When we kicked off Women at Work at ISO, we brought together female Boilermakers with other female leaders so we could begin the groundwork for a foundation of support and advancement for our sisters in the Brotherhood. The event proved to be a meaningful and fruitful start to our new program, and it was an opportunity to uncover some common concerns and opportunities Women at Work can address. And let me say it plainly, this was not a one-time event. We're at the very beginning of much more to come. I have appointed Erica Stewart to lead our ongoing Women at Work efforts as the Boilermakers National Coordinator of Women's Initiatives. Erica, you in here? Stand up, Erica. She will be seeking and developing initiatives that empower more women Boilermakers to attain leadership roles at all levels, organize local communities, and recruit more women into the trade. And we have a short video introduction of this initiative, which I would like to share with you now, so please roll that film as well.
I always wanted to make a difference. I always wanted to do a job that I impact someone's life.
I see myself as a role model, as a woman, and as a Boilermaker, because I always was taught you have to stand for something, if not you'll fall for anything.
It's not easy work, especially for a female. But the Boilermaker Union gives females a voice.
Well, you know, back in World War II, the men were sent to war, and who filled the gap? All across the spectrum of all industries, you know, women participate women contribute.
For those who don't know me, my name is Erica Stewart. I am the National Coordinator for the Women in Trades Initiative. Thank you so much for attending our very first Women at Work lunch. And let's give yourselves a hand.
The Women at Work luncheon, led by Erica Stewart, was very, very empowering.
There are some sheets on your tables.
It takes a group of females that have all came from different backgrounds, have experienced different difficulties within their career, and their experience and being able to tell is going to help the next generation of upcoming Boilermaker women.
Yes, on that Monday I reported to the training center now.
President Jones taking the initiative to appoint Erica in this new role to develop a caucus to hear our voices so we feel that we're heard, and the concerns that these ladies are dealing with out there on the job sites, at the shipyards, and in the shops makes them feel like they're more a part of the brotherhood.
It ain't always been good, but it's great. It's great now. We have a lot of women that are good. We are good at what we do. You know, we hone our crafts.
So the key to women in the workforce is other seasoned women like myself, equipping them for what they're going to walk into.
We have to encourage each other. Reach back. Pull our sisters up. We have to encourage each other.
You look at the world today, whether it's the Boilermakers or the iron workers or whomever, we make a difference. When women come in, we take it to another level.
I look forward to continuing to excel, to continuing to grow, continuing to help motivate and lift other women and give them courage, you know, to become the best Boilermaker woman that they could be.
I don't believe I'm going to be able to hold Erica back. You need to get to know her. Well, back to our affiliation agreement with the UWUA. Our collaboration on women's issues is just a small part of our current work together. One of the biggest areas of opportunity we identified is sharing training resources. We have already successfully moved through our Boilermaker National Apprenticeship Program and our MOST programs to open those programs to participation by our UWUA brothers and sisters, as well as opening our training centers to them. Of course, we will need to put together a protocol for how all of this will work and who will be responsible for what, but our CSO is working on that already. So soon we will be hosting additional training for our brothers and sisters in the UWUA, and I am hopeful that we can put together an agreement to augment their crews when needed, and so that they can assist us where possible. Now let me shift gears to another initiative that greatly impacts not only the Boilermakers' future, but also the future of our entire planet, and that's carbon capture, use, and sequestration, or CCUS. Mitigating climate change is going to require many different strategies. Renewables, conservation, nuclear, hydro, and others are all necessary pieces in a complex puzzle of solutions that must work together for success. CCUS is a big piece of that puzzle. I would argue it is the most important piece. So I appointed Corey Shannon as International Director for Climate Change Policy Solutions, and Richard McIntosh as Assistant International Director for Climate Change Solutions. They are charged with our efforts to raise awareness and advocacy for CCUS among thought leaders, legislators, and the public. Corey and Richard are making sure the Boilermakers are plugged into any opportunity to be a voice for CCUS. They are also leading our involvement on world CCUS platforms, aligning the Boilermakers with organizations like the Global CCS Institute and the International CCS Knowledge Center. In fact, we have with us today Beth Hardy from the International CCS Knowledge Center, and I look forward to her remarks this morning. We as Boilermakers are currently involved in several CCUS projects in Canada and in the United States, but we're not yet scratching the surface on the scale needed. CCUS is a climate change solution we must continue to promote to not only to our legislators, but also our friends, family, and neighbors who can advocate along with us. We must continue to advocate for CCUS investment and implementation because it is critical for our planet and our union. And our advocacy is working. We are seeing some progress in Congress and some of the presidential candidates. Folks are starting to hear us and understand the urgency for all climate change solutions with CCUS at the forefront is now. Not renewable or clean fossil fuel solutions, but all solutions. We can no longer ignore the devastation that lies ahead if we do not embrace every option to stop climate change. And if mitigating climate change truly is a priority, if the future of our planet is a priority, CCUS must be fully explored and scaled as a workable option. We need our legislators to support increased funding for all fossil fuel energy research and development programs, including CCUS, and to support funding to bring viable CCUS projects to life. We need all of you to support it and help us elevate it to the top of everyone's agenda. Now, last year I shared a film, CCS, Bridge to a Cleaner Future, with you. We have been sharing this film to educate lawmakers, decision makers, and as many everyday people as we can, and I urge everyone in this room to do the same. The film is available to anyone and can be viewed or downloaded from www.cleanerfuturecccus.org. You'll also find easy ways to support and raise awareness for CCUS at that website. And the final innovation I want to mention is this event itself. After more than 30 years of this National Tripartite Conference, we sense a need for a change as our industries change. I'm not just talking about moving the event from Myrtle Beach to Destin. Our regional tripartite conferences bring in more owner representatives, but we see a role for industry-specific tripartite conferences. We have already tested this idea in the western states with our refinery tripartite conference. We had an overwhelming response last year when we tried that concept for the first time in Huntington Beach, California, and this year was an even bigger turnout in Napa. So we need to continue to think ahead to what this event in our regional tripartite conferences can and should be achieving. Just take a look around this room and look at who is here and think about what we've accomplished together so far. Think of the obstacles and challenges we already solved because we've put our collective brains together and decided we're best when we work together. Because of our tripartite alliance, MOST has 17 incredible programs we've developed together to advance our industry, move us forward, put us to work safely, improve our performance, and create cost savings and efficiencies that benefit our contractors and owners. Because of our tripartite alliance, we're forward-thinking together. And I'm confident we are on the right track to succeed together. The More Work Investment Fund is the best strategic plan we could devise for an uncertain future for our craft. Building a strategic alliance with the UWUA is also a part of our strategic plan, and as I am sure it is for their wonderful organization as well. Reimagining and relaunching our NTDL and rethinking our referral rules process puts us back in control of prospective apprenticeship pipelines and makes us the adaptive and transferable workforce we know we should and can be. Now, we have got to get to the point where we can reform many of our past practices, relationships, and operational rules. Doing so is critical to our survival in this new world. We've got to rework this lumbering cargo ship into a streamlined, efficient, and nimble combat ship. And that is exactly what we are going to build going forward to meet the needs of those who entrust their labor needs to us. I look forward to talking to many of you this week, and I wish us all an excellent and productive tripartite conference. Thank you.